In the sprawling digital landscape of Los Angeles, where palm trees cast shadows over server farms and dreams are uploaded in high definition, two media empires wage war across the glowing screens of America. The year is 2007, and the internet pulses with the heartbeat of a new generation, one that measures love in views, friendship in subscriptions, and fame in viral moments that can make or break a career overnight. High above Sunset Boulevard, the glass towers of Montague Media pierce the smoggy sky like digital spears. Founded by Lord Richard Montague, a traditional media mogul who built his fortune on television networks and movie studios, the company now scrambles to dominate YouTube's explosive landscape. Their content creators fill sleek studios with ring lights and professional cameras, churning out polished videos that feel more like commercials than the raw, authentic content their audience craves. Across the city, in a converted warehouse in the Arts District, Capulet Digital thrives in controlled chaos. Lady Catherine Capulet, a tech visionary who predicted the social media revolution, has transformed her daughter's generation into MySpace royalty. Their creators work from neon-lit spaces, filled with vintage synthesizers, analog cameras, and walls covered in digital art prints. Where Montague Media seeks perfection, Capulet Digital celebrates the beautifully imperfect, the glitched photos, the lo-fi music, the aesthetic that screams authentic rebellion. The rivalry between these digital dynasties runs deeper than mere business competition. It's a war of philosophies: corporate polish versus underground authenticity, traditional media values versus revolutionary digital culture. Their creators aren't just employees, they're soldiers in a battle for the soul of online entertainment. Each view and subscriber a small victory in an endless war. Romeo Montague sits in his father's penthouse office, the city sprawling beneath floor-to-ceiling windows that reflect his brooding expression. At 19, he's already accumulated 2 million YouTube subscribers with his music covers and skateboarding videos, but success feels hollow. His latest video, a polished acoustic cover of "Hey There Delilah," garnered 3 million views, yet the comment section buzzes with accusations of selling out. "You used to be real, Romeo," reads one comment with 500 upvotes. "Now you're just another corporate puppet." His father's voice cuts through his melancholy like a notification alert. "The Capulet brats are gaining ground," Richard Montague announces, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the marble floor as he paces. "Their MySpace pages are pulling numbers that make our quarterly reports look like amateur hour. That Juliet girl alone has more daily unique visitors than our top 3 channels combined." Romeo's fingers hover over his custom MacBook Pro, the Montague Media logo gleaming on its titanium surface. On his screen, analytics graphs show the brutal truth: while Montague Media's content performs well, it lacks the passionate engagement that makes Capulet Digital's creators cultural phenomena. Their audiences don't just watch, they live and breathe their creators' content, sharing it like sacred texts and defending it with religious fervor. "Maybe we should try a different approach," Romeo suggests, his voice carrying the weight of artistic frustration. "The audience wants authenticity, not production value. They want to feel connected, not impressed." His father's laugh is sharp, businesslike. "Authenticity doesn't pay for these offices, son. Authenticity doesn't secure distribution deals or advertising partnerships. We build brands here, not teenage diary entries." Outside, Los Angeles buzzes with the energy of digital natives, creating their futures one upload at a time. In coffee shops across the city, aspiring creators edit videos on borrowed laptops, dreaming of the moment their subscriber count hits that magical threshold where passion becomes profession. The Montague and Capulet empires loom over this landscape like digital gods, offering fame and fortune to those willing to choose a side in their endless war. Romeo closes his laptop, the analytics graphs disappearing into electronic darkness. Somewhere across the city, in the neon glow of Capulet Digital's warehouse studios, creators are probably filming content that will define tomorrow's cultural conversation. He wonders what it would be like to create without corporate oversight, to upload a video simply because it felt true rather than because it tested well with focus groups. The sun sets over Los Angeles, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that no Instagram filter could improve. In bedrooms and apartments across the city, teenagers check their phones for new uploads from their favorite creators, ready to spend their evening diving deep into digital worlds that feel more real than reality itself. The stage is set, the cameras are rolling, and somewhere in this vast network of screens and servers, Two hearts are about to collide in a love story that will break the internet and themselves. Across the sprawling metropolis, in the converted warehouse that houses Capulet Digital, the atmosphere pulses with creative electricity. Exposed brick walls display massive screens showing real-time analytics from dozens of MySpace profiles, their visitor counts climbing like digital heartbeats. The scent of energy drinks and takeout containers mingles with the warm glow of vintage computer monitors, creating an environment that feels more like an artist's commune than a corporate headquarters. Juliet Capulet sits cross-legged on a Persian rug, her laptop balanced on a stack of vinyl records as she edits her latest video blog. At 17, she's become the unofficial queen of MySpace's aesthetic movement. Her profile, decorated with glittering graphics and carefully curated playlists, attracts over 50,000 unique visitors daily. Her videos aren't just content. They're windows into a perfectly imperfect world where poetry meets pop culture, where Polaroid photos hold more weight than professional headshots. Her editing software displays a timeline filled with quick cuts, close-ups of her painting her nails black while discussing Sylvia Plath, shots of her thrift store jewelry collection arranged on her unmade bed, footage of her dancing alone in her bedroom to obscure indie bands that her followers will discover and claim as their own within hours of her video going live. This is authentic content creation, raw, unfiltered, and impossibly influential. "Jules, your numbers from last night's post are insane," calls out Marcus, a 22-year-old photographer whose grainy, high-contrast images define the visual aesthetic of their generation. His own MySpace profile features moody black-and-white portraits that make suburban teenagers feel like misunderstood artists. The Midnight Thoughts video hit 200K views in 8 hours. The comment section is basically a poetry slam. Juliet grins, her dark hair falling across her face as she leans over her laptop. Her bedroom, visible in every video, has become iconic among her followers. Fairy lights strung haphazardly across walls, covered in magazine cutouts, vintage band posters, and Polaroid pictures of friends making exaggerated expressions. A flower crown hangs from her mirror, and stacks of worn paperback books create precarious towers on her nightstand. It's organized chaos, the kind of space that makes viewers wish they could crawl through their screens and inhabit her world. "The best part is how genuine the engagement is," she replies, scrolling through comments that read like love letters from strangers. "These aren't just views, these are connections. People are sharing their own midnight thoughts, their own poetry, their own photos trying to capture the same feeling." Lady Catherine Capulet moves through the warehouse like a digital prophet, her silver hair catching the light from dozens of screens. She built her empire by understanding that the future belonged to creators who could make their audiences feel seen, understood, and less alone in an increasingly connected yet isolating world. Where other executives saw teenage angst and dismissed it as a phase, she saw the raw material of cultural revolution. "The Montague machine is trying to duplicate what we do," Catherine announces to her team of creators, who lounge on mismatched furniture throughout the warehouse space. They're hiring consultants to teach them authenticity, buying indie music for their soundtracks, even installing vintage filters on their cameras. But they'll never understand that you can't manufacture genuine emotion. On the main screen, she pulls up Romeo Montague's latest video, the acoustic cover that's been dominating YouTube's trending page. The production quality is undeniably professional. Perfect lighting that makes his skin glow without looking artificial. Audio so crisp every guitar string rings with studio clarity. Camera angles that showcase his strong jawline and soulful brown eyes. Yet something feels hollow about the performance, like watching a beautiful actor play the role of a heartbroken musician rather than witnessing actual heartbreak. "He's talented," Juliet admits, pausing her own editing to study Romeo's video. "But it feels like he's performing authenticity rather than just being authentic. Like he's trying so hard to seem real that he's forgotten how to actually be real." Her observation cuts to the heart of the digital divide that separates their worlds. In Montague Media's sterile studios, every creative decision passes through multiple layers of approval. Focus groups test emotional resonance, marketing teams optimize for maximum shareability, and executives ensure content aligns with brand guidelines. The result is content that performs well but lacks soul, videos that accumulate views but fail to create lasting connections. The warehouse fills with the familiar sounds of creation, keyboards clicking as writers craft blog posts that will be screenshotted and shared as profound wisdom, cameras clicking, as photographers capture the kind of candid moments that feel more honest than any posed portrait, and the soft hum of computers uploading content that will define teenage bedrooms from coast to coast. Juliet returns to her video, adding text overlays in careful handwriting font. Sometimes I think we're all just trying to document that we existed, that we felt something real in a world of manufactured moments. The words appear over footage of her silhouette against her bedroom window at golden hour, the Los Angeles skyline blurred in the background like a dream she's not sure she wants to reach. As night falls over the city, the digital divide between the Montague and Capulet empires becomes even more pronounced. In his penthouse, Romeo stares at his reflection in floor-to-ceiling windows, wondering if anyone sees the real person behind the perfectly curated videos. Meanwhile, in her bedroom, Juliet films herself getting ready for bed, sharing the kind of mundane intimacy that makes her followers feel like they're watching a friend rather than a celebrity. Neither knows that tomorrow, their digital worlds will collide in a way that will change everything, not just for them, but for everyone who believes that love can bloom in the glow of computer screens and grow stronger than any corporate empire. The collision of digital destinies begins with a single event that will reshape the landscape of Los Angeles's creative underground, the launch party for Platform Wars, an experimental web series documenting the rivalry between traditional and new media. Hosted at the iconic Avalon nightclub in Hollywood, the party draws creators from both empires, their usual territorial boundaries dissolved by curiosity and the promise of networking opportunities that could make or break careers. Romeo arrives in his father's black Tesla, the vehicle's silent engine a stark contrast to the bass-heavy music pulsing from the club's entrance. Paparazzi cameras flash like digital lightning, capturing his perfectly styled hair and designer casual outfit, distressed jeans that cost more than most people's rent, paired with a vintage band t-shirt that his styling team carefully selected to appear authentic. His entourage consists of other Montague media creators, their matching confidence masking the underlying anxiety that comes with entering enemy territory. The club's interior transforms into a multimedia wonderland. Projection screens display loops of viral videos, LED strips pulse in sync with the music, and interactive stations allow guests to create and upload content in real time. Two distinct crowds form naturally: the Montague contingent gravitating toward the VIP section with its professional lighting and champagne service, while the Capulet creators claim the dance floor, their vintage cameras capturing candid moments that will become tomorrow's aesthetic inspiration. Juliet enters like digital poetry made flesh, her arrival documented by friends who instinctively understand that every moment of her life deserves to be preserved and shared. She wears a black dress that appears simple until the light hits it, revealing intricate lace patterns that mirror the complexity of her online persona. Her makeup is deliberately imperfect smudged eyeliner that suggests she's already lived a full evening, lipstick that's been kissed off and reapplied, the kind of authentic beauty that can't be staged or replicated. Her friends form a constellation around her as they move through the crowd. Luna, whose photography turns mundane moments into art. Phoenix, a musician whose lo-fi beats soundtrack half the emotional breakdowns on MySpace. And Sage, a writer whose blog posts about teenage existentialism get shared like philosophical manifestos. They document everything: the way the lights cast rainbow patterns on the dance floor, the vintage band posters covering the walls, the diverse crowd of creators who've temporarily set aside their platform loyalties for one night of collaborative celebration. Romeo notices her across the crowded dance floor during a moment when the music shifts to something slower, more intimate. She's laughing at something Phoenix whispered in her ear, her head thrown back in genuine delight, and the sight stops him mid-conversation. Unlike the carefully orchestrated interactions he's accustomed to at industry events, her joy appears completely spontaneous, unfiltered, and impossibly magnetic. Their eyes meet across the digital divide, and the club's strobing lights seem to pause, creating a frozen moment that feels like a screenshot from a dream. Romeo excuses himself from his conversation about quarterly projections and advertising revenue, drawn toward her by an inexplicable gravitational pull. Juliet watches his approach with curious eyes, noting how he moves differently than his polished online persona, suggests less confident, more vulnerable, like someone stepping out of character for the first time. "I know you," she says, when he finally reaches her, her voice barely audible above the music. "You're Romeo Montague. The acoustic covers, the skateboarding videos. Your Wonderwall cover made me cry, which is embarrassing because I usually hate that song." You watch my videos? Romeo's surprise is genuine, his practiced media training momentarily forgotten. I mean, I know who you are too. Juliet Capulet. Your Midnight Thoughts series. It's like you're speaking directly to everyone who's ever felt lost at 3 a.m. They find themselves drawn toward a quieter corner of the club, where vintage arcade games provide a retro backdrop for their conversation. The contrast between their worlds becomes apparent immediately. He speaks in measured phrases shaped by media training, while she communicates in the rapid-fire style of someone whose thoughts move faster than conventional speech patterns can contain. Do you ever feel like you're performing yourself instead of just being yourself? Juliet asks, her question cutting through small talk with surgical precision. Like, sometimes I watch my own videos and wonder if that's really me, or just the version of me that tests well with audiences. Romeo's carefully maintained composure cracks, revealing the artist trapped beneath layers of corporate polish. Every day, he admits. Sometimes I write songs just for myself, never planning to share them, and they feel more real than anything I've ever uploaded. But then I think about the algorithm, about engagement rates, about whether my father will approve of the message I'm sending. Their conversation flows like the most intimate late-night phone call, the kind of connection that makes the rest of the world fade into background noise. They discuss their favorite books, the songs that soundtrack their private moments, their dreams for creating content that matters beyond view counts and subscriber numbers. For the first time in months, Romeo speaks without considering how his words might be edited or taken out of context, while Juliet finds herself sharing thoughts she usually reserves for her private journal. The spell breaks when their friends locate them, reality crashing back like a notification alert. Luna appears first, her camera instinctively raised to capture Juliet's expression of unexpected joy. Behind her, Marcus approaches with his phone already recording, followed by other Capulet creators whose protective instincts activate upon seeing their queen engaged in conversation with enemy royalty. Romeo's entourage arrives seconds later, their expressions ranging from confusion to alarm as they recognize the girl who's been dominating their competitor analysis reports. The carefully maintained boundaries between their digital kingdoms reassert themselves like security software, detecting a potential threat. "We should go," whispers Benvolio, Romeo's best friend and fellow Montague creator, his voice carrying the weight of corporate politics and family loyalty. "Your father's expecting a full report on tonight's intelligence gathering." As they're pulled apart by their respective worlds, Romeo and Juliet exchange one last look, a moment of connection that will be replayed in their minds like a favorite video, analyzed and treasured, and desperately missed. Neither knows the other's full name, their family legacy, or the digital empire that claims their loyalty. They only know that for 10 minutes, they found someone who understood the loneliness of performing authenticity for an audience that demands nothing less than complete emotional transparency. The party continues around them, but something fundamental has shifted in the digital landscape of Los Angeles. Two hearts have recognized each other across enemy lines, and their collision will soon send shockwaves through both empires, challenging everything their families believe about love, loyalty, and the price of authentic connection in a world built on carefully curated personas. Dawn breaks over Los Angeles like a slow-loading web page, the city's digital heartbeat continuing its relentless rhythm even as most creators sleep off the previous night's networking adventures. In his penthouse bedroom, Romeo lies awake staring at the ceiling, his mind replaying every moment of his encounter with Juliet like a video he can't stop watching. His MacBook Pro rests open beside him, the cursor blinking in an empty search bar as he wrestles with the desire to find her online presence while knowing that crossing digital enemy lines could trigger corporate warfare. The morning light filters through his floor-to-ceiling windows, casting geometric shadows across his minimalist bedroom. All clean lines, expensive furniture, and carefully curated decor that photographs well for his occasional room tour videos. Yet today the perfection feels suffocating, a pristine prison that prevents authentic self-expression. His guitar leans against the wall, untouched since yesterday, its strings waiting for songs that will never pass through Montague Media's content approval process. Across the city, in her converted warehouse bedroom within the Capulet digital compound, Juliet sits at her vintage vanity, applying eyeliner, while her laptop streams lo-fi hip-hop beats that will soundtrack her followers' study sessions for the next week. Her reflection reveals someone transformed by last night's encounter. There's a new light in her dark eyes, a secret smile that her audience will notice and interpret as evidence of creative inspiration, or perhaps a new romantic subplot in her ongoing life narrative. Her bedroom walls tell the story of a digital native coming of age. Polaroid pictures cascade from fairy lights. Vintage band posters compete for space with printed screenshots of profound Tumblr quotes, and her desk overflows with the beautiful chaos of someone whose creativity refuses to be contained by organizational systems. A half-written poem sits beside her keyboard, its verses attempting to capture the sensation of meeting someone whose presence made the rest of the world feel like background music. Unable to resist the gravitational pull of curiosity, Romeo finally types Juliet Capulet into his browser, his finger hovering over the enter key like a trigger that could detonate his family's digital empire. The search results flood his screen with the evidence of her online influence: her MySpace profile with its astronomical visitor count, blog posts that get quoted in high school yearbooks, and video responses from fans who credit her content with helping them survive their darkest moments. Her MySpace profile loads like a digital work of art, every element carefully chosen to create an atmosphere rather than simply display information. Her profile song, an obscure track by an indie band that will be signed to a major label within 6 months of her endorsement, plays softly through his speakers. Her photo gallery reveals not the typical selfie collection of most creators, but a curated exhibition of mood and aesthetic. Blurry shots taken through rain-covered windows, close-ups of her handwriting on coffee-stained napkins, and candid moments captured by friends who understand that beauty lies in imperfection. Meanwhile, Juliet performs her own digital archaeology, navigating to Romeo's YouTube channel with the careful precision of someone venturing into forbidden territory. His content library reveals technical mastery and undeniable talent. Acoustic covers that showcase his rich voice and skilled guitar work, skateboarding videos that capture Los Angeles' sun-soaked streets with cinematic beauty, and collaboration videos with other Montague media creators that feel more like professional productions than authentic expressions. Yet as she scrolls deeper into his archive, she discovers traces of the person she met last night. His older videos, uploaded before Montague Media's corporate makeover, show raw vulnerability. Late-night performances recorded in his bedroom, original songs about loneliness and searching for authentic connection, and unedited footage that reveals genuine emotion beneath the polished exterior his audience now expects. "He used to be different," she whispers to her empty room, clicking on a video titled 3 a.m. Thoughts from 8 months ago. The Romeo on screen looks exhausted but authentic, strumming his guitar in rumpled clothes while sharing fears about losing himself in the pursuit of online success. The comment section reveals an audience hungry for this vulnerability, begging him to return to this style of content to show them the real person behind the brand. Her phone buzzes with a notification that makes her heart race. A private message on MySpace from an account she doesn't recognize, but whose profile picture shows a familiar silhouette against a city skyline. "I know we're not supposed to be talking," the message begins, "but I can't stop thinking about our conversation last night. Would it be crazy to say that 10 minutes with you felt more real than the last 10 months of my online life?" Juliet stares at the message for several heartbeats, her thumb hovering over the keyboard as she weighs the consequences of responding. Every creator in the Capulet empire knows the rules about fraternizing with Montague talent. It's not just discouraged, it's considered digital treason. Yet something about Romeo's vulnerability, both in person and in his message, makes the risk feel worthwhile. "Not crazy at all," she types back, her heart racing as she hits send. "I've been watching your old videos, the ones before you got all corporate and shiny. That's the person I met last night, isn't it? The one you don't let your audience see anymore?" Their conversation begins cautiously. Two creators testing the waters of forbidden communication while knowing that discovery could end their careers. Romeo confesses his frustration with corporate oversight, how every creative decision gets filtered through marketing analysis and focus group approval. Juliet shares her own struggles with authenticity, the pressure to constantly perform vulnerability for an audience that demands emotional transparency while offering nothing genuine in return. As the morning progresses into afternoon, their digital courtship deepens through rapid-fire exchanges that reveal shared passions, creative frustrations, and dreams that extend beyond view counts and subscriber numbers. They discover mutual love for obscure poets, share playlists that soundtrack their private moments, and begin crafting inside jokes that feel like building a secret language only they understand. The sun reaches its zenith over Los Angeles, casting harsh shadows that will soften into golden hour magic by evening, when creators across the city will scramble to capture perfect lighting for their daily content. But Romeo and Juliet remain absorbed in their private conversation, their screens becoming windows into souls that have been hidden behind carefully curated personas for far too long. Neither realizes that their digital romance is already being monitored, their private messages leaving traces in server logs that corporate security teams review with increasing alarm. The stage is set for a love story that will challenge not just family loyalty, but the entire structure of Los Angeles's creator economy. 3 days after their first digital exchange, Romeo and Juliet have created a secret world within the vast network of Los Angeles's online ecosystem. Their communication has evolved beyond simple MySpace messages into an elaborate system of coded interactions. Romeo leaves cryptic comments on obscure blog posts that only Juliet follows, while she responds through carefully timed uploads of song covers that contain hidden meanings only he understands. Their forbidden romance plays out in plain sight, invisible to everyone except the two hearts beating in rhythm across enemy lines. Romeo sits in his father's conference room, surrounded by charts showing Montague Media's quarterly performance, but his attention remains fixed on his phone beneath the polished mahogany table. Juliet has just uploaded a cover of The Night We Met by Lord Huron, her voice carrying undertones of longing that make his chest tighten with recognition. In the caption she writes, "Sometimes, I wonder what would happen if we could meet again, without all the noise and expectations. Just two people. No cameras, no audiences." The message feels like a direct plea to his soul, and Romeo finds himself drafting and deleting responses while his father discusses market penetration strategies and demographic targeting. The sterile corporate environment feels more suffocating than ever as he imagines the creative freedom that exists within Capulet Digital's converted warehouse, where authenticity isn't focus grouped and emotional expression doesn't require board approval. Romeo, are you monitoring the competitor analysis? His father's sharp voice cuts through his daydreaming like a notification alert demanding immediate attention. Yes, sir, Romeo responds automatically, forcing his attention back to the presentation slides showing Juliet's rising influence metrics. Her Midnight Thoughts series has spawned countless imitation videos, while her aesthetic choices drive purchasing decisions across teenage America. The Capulet girl continues to dominate engagement statistics. Her followers don't just watch her content, they live it, breathe it, build their identities around it. Richard Montague's expression darkens as he studies his son's analysis, which is precisely why we need to neutralize her influence before it completely erodes our market share. I want you to create response content, show our audience that authentic connection doesn't require amateur production values and manufactured vulnerability. The irony cuts deep. Romeo is being asked to perform authenticity in response to someone whose genuine vulnerability has become his private sanctuary. That evening, as Los Angeles transforms into a glittering network of lights and dreams, Romeo makes a decision that could destroy everything his family has built. He sends Juliet a direct message with a single address: Griffith Observatory, the iconic landmark that overlooks their divided city, like a neutral territory suspended between Earth and stars. Juliet receives his message while editing her latest video in the warehouse's main creative space, surrounded by the comfortable chaos of collaborative art making. Phoenix works on a melancholic piano composition in the corner, while Luna develops film photographs in the makeshift darkroom she's created behind hanging tapestries. The atmosphere buzzes with the kind of creative energy that can't be manufactured or replicated in corporate studios, yet Juliet feels increasingly isolated within her own success. Her followers see only the curated highlights of her existence: the perfectly imperfect bedroom aesthetic, the profound late-night thoughts delivered with casual eloquence, the vintage outfits that make thrift store shopping feel like archaeological expeditions for lost treasures. But beneath the surface lies a 17-year-old girl who sometimes feels more connected to strangers on the internet than to the friends who share her physical space. Romeo's invitation arrives like a message in a bottle, offering the possibility of connection without performance, intimacy without documentation. She stares at the address, knowing that meeting him in person crosses every boundary her family has established, yet unable to resist the pull of genuine human connection in a world built on digital interactions. The observatory sits high above Los Angeles like a modernist temple to curiosity and wonder, its Art Deco architecture silhouetted against the star-scattered sky. Romeo arrives first, his Tesla's silent engine allowing him to approach without disturbing the peaceful atmosphere. He's dressed differently tonight, not the carefully styled casual wear his audience expects, but simple jeans and a vintage flannel shirt that belonged to his grandfather, a reminder of who he was before algorithms and analytics defined his creative choices. Juliet appears at the observatory's entrance like a figure from his private dreams made manifest. She wears a flowing dress that catches the evening breeze, her dark hair framing features that look even more striking without the digital filters her audience has never seen removed. Most remarkably, she carries no camera, no phone, no means of documenting this moment for later sharing. For the first time in years, she exists purely in the present moment, unmediated by screens or strategic social media considerations. They walk in comfortable silence along the observatory's pathways, Los Angeles spreading below them like a circuit board made of light and possibility. The city's creative communities pulse with nocturnal energy in coffee shops and converted warehouses, in bedroom studios and rooftop gardens. Thousands of young creators are uploading their dreams to servers that will carry their hopes across fiber optic cables to audiences they'll never meet in person. It's strange being here without documenting it, Juliet admits, as they reach the observatory's main viewing area. I keep reaching for my phone to capture this moment. But then I realize I don't want to share this with anyone else. For once, I want something that exists just for me. Romeo understands completely, having spent years feeling like his life belonged more to his audience than to himself. Sometimes I write songs that I never record, just so I can have something that's purely mine, he confesses. But then I feel guilty, like I'm withholding something from people who support me. Their conversation flows with the natural rhythm of two souls, recognizing their reflection in each other. They discuss their favorite books without worrying about whether their literary taste aligns with their brand image, share childhood memories that would never make compelling content, and reveal dreams that extend far beyond internet fame and digital influence. As the night deepens around them, Romeo and Juliet create the kind of authentic connection that their audiences crave but rarely witness. Here, beneath the stars, and away from streaming cameras, they discover that love can bloom in spaces unmarked by corporate logos or advertising partnerships, that genuine intimacy requires no audience beyond two beating hearts willing to be vulnerable without strategic purpose. Their first kiss happens naturally, inevitably, like the conclusion to a song that began playing the moment their eyes met across the crowded nightclub. No cameras capture this moment, no fans will screenshot their expressions of joy, and no analytics will measure the emotional impact of their connection. For one perfect moment, they exist purely for each other, their love story unfolding in the sacred privacy that true intimacy requires. The secret romance between Romeo and Juliet unfolds like an underground internet phenomenon, hidden from mainstream view, yet burning with the intensity of viral content waiting to explode. Over the following weeks, they develop an elaborate system of covert communication that would impress even the most sophisticated digital espionage operations. Their love letters arrive disguised as YouTube video comments buried in the thousands of responses to popular uploads, hidden in plain sight where only they know to look. Romeo begins uploading instrumental tracks titled with seemingly random numbers, coordinates that lead Juliet to abandoned locations across Los Angeles, where they can meet without corporate surveillance or paparazzi documentation. An old recording studio in Echo Park becomes their sanctuary, its dust-covered equipment and faded gold records, creating a cathedral for their forbidden love. Here, surrounded by the ghosts of music industry legends, they create content for an audience of two. Romeo plays guitar while Juliet writes poetry, their collaboration producing art too pure and vulnerable for public consumption. Their creative partnership transcends the artificial boundaries their families have constructed. Romeo's music regains the authentic vulnerability that his early videos once contained, while Juliet's writing reaches new depths of emotional honesty. They critique each other's work with the brutal kindness that only true love can provide, pushing each other toward artistic heights that their corporate overlords would never understand or appreciate. But their secret courtship leaves traces in the digital archaeology of Los Angeles's creator ecosystem. Analytics algorithms begin detecting unusual patterns. Romeo's engagement rates spike whenever Juliet uploads new content, while her posting schedule subtly shifts to complement his video releases. Their separate audiences start overlapping in ways that make no demographic sense. Teenage viewers crossing platform boundaries to follow creators from rival media empires. Lady Catherine Capulet notices the anomalies first during her weekly review of competitor intelligence reports. Her silver hair catches the light from multiple monitors as she studies engagement patterns that suggest coordinated activity between her daughter's account and the Montague heir apparent. Years of building digital empires have taught her to recognize the early warning signs of corporate espionage, brand infiltration, and talent poaching. But these patterns suggest something far more dangerous than business warfare. Luna, she calls to her daughter's photographer friend, who's editing a vintage-filtered photo shoot in the warehouse's main creative space. Has Juliet mentioned anything unusual lately? New creative inspirations, different energy, perhaps secret projects she's working on? Luna's camera hangs around her neck like a talisman as she considers the question carefully. Loyalty to Juliet wars with respect for Lady Catherine, who's provided opportunities and creative freedom that traditional media companies would never offer. She's been different, Luna admits reluctantly. Happier, but also more secretive. She disappears for hours without documenting where she goes, which is not like her usual sharing patterns. Meanwhile, across the city, Richard Montague reviews similar intelligence reports in his glass tower office, his Italian leather shoes clicking against marble floors as he paces with predatory intensity. His son's recent content shows disturbing signs of authentic emotion, the kind of raw vulnerability that focus groups consistently rate as unmarketable to their target demographic. Romeo's latest acoustic covers contain original lyrics that weren't approved by the creative committee, while his posting schedule has become erratic, unpredictable, dangerously spontaneous. Benvolio. He summons Romeo's best friend and fellow Montague creator, whose loyalty to both the family business and his childhood friend creates an impossible conflict of interest. I need you to monitor Romeo's activities more closely. His content quality is improving, but his brand consistency is deteriorating. He's behaving like an artist instead of an influencer. Benvolio shifts uncomfortably in his chair, his own creative ambitions sacrificed years ago on the altar of corporate advancement. He's noticed Romeo's transformation, the return of genuine passion to his music, the secret phone calls that end abruptly when anyone approaches, the way his friend's eyes now hold secrets that feel more valuable than viral content. He's been writing a lot of original material, Benvolio offers carefully. Maybe he's just going through a creative phase. Creative phases don't pay dividends. Richard responds coldly. I want detailed reports on his whereabouts, his collaborators, his inspirations. If he's being influenced by outside sources, I need to know immediately. That evening, as Los Angeles transforms into its nocturnal incarnation of glittering dreams and neon possibilities, Romeo and Juliet meet at their secret studio sanctuary. The abandoned recording space holds the accumulated dreams of decades of musicians who believed in the transformative power of authentic artistic expression. Dust motes dance in shafts of light filtering through broken blinds, while vintage microphones stand ready to capture whatever truth emerges from their collaboration. Romeo sits at the piano, an ancient Steinway that still holds perfect tune despite years of neglect, while Juliet curls up in a leather armchair worn soft by countless songwriting sessions. Her notebook rests open on her lap, filled with poems that capture the exquisite torture of loving someone whose very existence threatens everything she's been raised to believe about family loyalty and corporate allegiance. I wrote something, she says softly, her voice barely audible above the distant hum of Los Angeles traffic. It's about loving someone you're not supposed to love, about feeling more yourself with them than you ever do when performing for thousands of strangers. Romeo's fingers find the keys instinctively, creating a melody that matches the rhythm of her heartbeat as she reads. Her words paint pictures of stolen moments and secret glances, of two souls finding each other across digital battlefields that their families have constructed. The song they create together transcends anything either has produced for their respective audiences. It's too honest for algorithmic optimization, too vulnerable for corporate approval, too real for a world built on carefully curated authenticity. As they work, neither notices the security camera hidden in the studio's vintage equipment, its modern lens an anachronistic intrusion on their private sanctuary. Their secret is about to become public knowledge, their forbidden love transformed into ammunition for a war that will consume everything they hold dear. The night air carries the sounds of a city that never sleeps, where creators dream of authentic connections while building careers on manufactured intimacy. Romeo and Juliet's love story represents everything their digital world claims to want but systematically destroys: genuine emotion, unmediated connection, and the radical vulnerability required for true artistic expression. Their tragedy is already beginning, encoded in server logs and security footage, waiting to be weaponized by executives who see love as a branding opportunity and authenticity as a marketing strategy. The discovery arrives like a DDoS attack on their carefully constructed secret world, swift and devastating in its digital precision. Lady Catherine Capulet sits in her warehouse office at 3 a.m., surrounded by monitors displaying surveillance footage that shatters her daughter's reputation like a broken smartphone screen. The hidden camera in the abandoned Echo Park studio has captured everything: intimate conversations, collaborative songwriting sessions, and passionate kisses that reveal the depth of Juliet's betrayal to the family empire. The footage plays in silent loops across her screens, each frame a piece of evidence in what feels like a corporate espionage case turned personal nightmare. Her daughter, the crown jewel of Capulet Digital's authentic content strategy, has been collaborating with the enemy, sharing creative secrets and emotional vulnerabilities with the son of their greatest rival. Catherine's silver hair catches the harsh glow of computer screens as she watches Juliet's face illuminate with genuine happiness, an expression that never appears in any of her public content. Across the city, Richard Montague receives identical intelligence reports in his penthouse office, his Italian leather shoes silent against the marble floor as he processes the implications of his son's romantic treachery. The corporate security footage reveals not just a forbidden relationship, but something far more dangerous: authentic artistic collaboration that produces content superior to anything either family's marketing departments have manufactured. Romeo's transformation makes perfect sense now: the return of vulnerability to his music, the spontaneous creativity that defied algorithmic optimization, the genuine emotion that focus groups consistently rated as unmarketable. His son hasn't just fallen in love, he's rediscovered the artist beneath the influencer, and that authenticity threatens everything Montague Media represents. Secure all digital assets. Richard commands his security team through encrypted communication channels. Change all passwords, revoke access credentials, and prepare for immediate content lockdown. If Romeo has shared proprietary information with the Capulet organization, we need to contain the breach before it destroys our competitive advantage. Dawn breaks over Los Angeles like a corrupted file loading slowly, the city's morning light revealing a digital landscape forever changed by overnight revelations. In her converted warehouse bedroom, Juliet wakes to find her internet access restricted, her social media accounts suspended, and her creative equipment confiscated by corporate security personnel wearing Capulet Digital uniforms. Her mother stands in the doorway like a disappointed angel of digital judgment, holding a tablet displaying the surveillance footage that will end everything. 17 years old, and you've already destroyed everything I built for you, Catherine says, her voice carrying the cold precision of a terms of service violation. Did you really think your little romance would remain secret in a world where every click is tracked, every message is logged, every heartbeat can be monetized? Juliet's bedroom, once a sacred space of authentic self-expression, now feels like a crime scene being processed by digital forensics experts. Her Polaroid pictures are cataloged as potential evidence of corporate espionage, her handwritten journals scanned for trade secrets, and her vintage furniture moved aside to search for additional surveillance devices. The fairy lights that once created magical ambiance now seem like interrogation lighting, revealing every corner where secrets might hide. You don't understand. Juliet protests, her voice cracking with the weight of having her private world invaded and catalogued like evidence in a corporate lawsuit. Romeo isn't just some Montague spy. He's an artist, a real one, not a focus-grouped creation designed to hit demographic targets. When we're together, I feel like the person I was before views and subscribers mattered more than actual human connection. Her mother's expression hardens like a computer screen freezing mid-crash. Authenticity is our brand, Juliet, not your personal truth. You've been performing vulnerability for an audience of millions, and apparently the performance was so convincing that you started believing it yourself. But real business requires strategic thinking, not teenage romantic fantasies. Meanwhile, in the Montague Media Tower, Romeo faces his own digital tribunal. Corporate lawyers surround his father's conference table like vultures analyzing the carcass of his creative career. Their tablets display comprehensive analytics, showing how his engagement rates spiked during his secret relationship, providing quantitative evidence that love had measurably improved his artistic output. The irony is almost poetic, Richard muses. Studying charts that prove authentic emotion creates superior content. Your little romance produced the most engaging material of your entire career. But engagement metrics don't justify corporate espionage, and they certainly don't excuse romantic relationships that compromise our competitive intelligence. Romeo sits in the same chair where he once pretended to analyze Juliet's influence as market research, now knowing that every moment of their secret courtship was being recorded and archived by security systems designed to protect corporate secrets. His phone has been confiscated, his social media accounts suspended, and his creative equipment locked in digital storage that requires executive approval to access. She didn't use me for information, Romeo insists, his voice carrying the desperate honesty of someone whose private world has been weaponized against the person he loves. We never discussed business strategies or marketing plans. We talked about poetry, about music, about what it means to create something real in a world that rewards performance over truth. His father's laugh carries the sharp edge of corporate ruthlessness. Your naive romanticism would be touching if it weren't so expensive. Every secret you shared, every creative technique you demonstrated, every authentic moment you experienced with that girl has been documented and analyzed by their intelligence team. Your heart is now a competitive disadvantage. Outside, Los Angeles awakens to its daily ritual of content creation, unaware that two of its most influential digital empires are preparing for war. In coffee shops across the city, aspiring creators edit videos on borrowed laptops, dreaming of the kind of authentic connection that Romeo and Juliet found and lost in a single night of corporate surveillance. Their love story, once a private sanctuary from the performative demands of internet fame, has become ammunition in a battle that will reshape the creator economy forever. The stage is set for digital warfare that will consume everything in its path, transforming genuine emotion into strategic weapons and authentic love into corporate casualties. In server farms across the city, automated systems continue processing the documentation of their destruction, turning their most intimate moments into data points in quarterly reports that will be forgotten as soon as new content trends emerge. The digital war between the Montague and Capulet empires erupts across Los Angeles's creator landscape like a viral controversy that consumes everything in its path. Within hours of discovering their children's forbidden romance, both corporate dynasties deploy their full arsenal of influencer warfare. Coordinated content campaigns, strategic hashtag manipulation, and algorithmic sabotage designed to destroy the opposing family's online reputation. Montague Media's response strikes first, launching a series of expose videos titled, "The Truth About Authentic Content." Their top creators, dressed in sleek corporate attire against minimalist backgrounds, deliver carefully scripted attacks on Capulet Digital's business practices. They claim that the Warehouse Collective exploits young creators' vulnerabilities, manufacturing fake authenticity to manipulate emotionally fragile audiences who mistake performed depression for genuine artistic expression. Real authenticity doesn't require vintage filters and manufactured melancholy, declares Tyler Montague, Romeo's cousin and the family's most aggressive content strategist. His video, shot in the penthouse conference room with Los Angeles gleaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, accumulates 500,000 views within hours. It requires professional standards, ethical business practices, and content that uplifts rather than exploits teenage mental health struggles. The Capulet response launches simultaneously across multiple platforms, their creators filming in the warehouse's neon-lit spaces, with handheld cameras that capture raw emotional reactions in real time. Phoenix, Juliet's musician friend whose lo-fi compositions soundtrack countless teenage existential crises, releases a scathing video response that transforms corporate criticism into art. His fingers dance across vintage synthesizer keys while he delivers spoken-word poetry about the difference between authentic vulnerability and manufactured polish. They want to sanitize our pain, make it palatable for advertising partnerships. Phoenix raps over melancholic beats, his words cutting through corporate spin like viral truth bombs. But real art comes from real places, the 3 a.m. anxiety attacks, the heartbreak that doesn't photograph well, the depression that can't be cured by better lighting or higher production values. The war escalates when Tybalt Capulet, Catherine's nephew and the family's most ruthless digital strategist, decides to take direct action against Romeo's remaining online presence. At 25, Tybalt has built his reputation on destroying careers through strategic doxing, coordinated harassment campaigns, and algorithmic manipulation that can make creators disappear from search results overnight. His own content focuses on exposing fake influencers and corporate plants, making him the perfect weapon against the Montague heir. Tybalt's attack comes disguised as investigative journalism, a three-part video series titled Romeo Montague, Corporate Puppet or Authentic Artist, using leaked footage from Romeo's corporate training sessions, internal emails discussing his brand optimization, and behind-the-scenes clips showing directors coaching his emotional expressions. Tybalt constructs a devastating portrait of manufactured authenticity designed to deceive vulnerable teenage audiences. The videos go viral within hours, spreading across TikTok, Twitter, and Reddit like digital wildfire. Romeo's comment sections fill with accusations of betrayal from fans who felt genuine emotional connections to his content. Screenshots of his professional contracts trend on social media, revealing the extent to which corporate committees controlled his creative decisions. His subscriber count drops by hundreds of thousands as viewers feel manipulated by discovering the industrial machinery behind their favorite creator's apparent vulnerability. Confined to his penthouse bedroom with all digital access restricted, Romeo can only watch helplessly as his online reputation dissolves like corrupted data. Benvolio, his best friend and fellow Montague creator, risks his own career by sneaking updates about the digital destruction unfolding across their creator community. "It's getting ugly out there," Benvolio reports, his voice heavy with guilt over his role in the corporate surveillance that exposed Romeo's secret romance. Tybalt's followers are coordinating mass reporting campaigns against anyone who defends you. The situation reaches a breaking point when Mercutio, Romeo's closest creative collaborator and the most beloved personality in the Montague media ecosystem, decides to defend his friend through a live-streamed response video. Mercutio's content typically focuses on comedy and pop culture commentary, making his serious tone feel particularly devastating as he addresses the camera from his colorfully chaotic apartment, surrounded by vintage movie posters and gaming equipment. "I've watched corporate media destroy authentic creators for years," Mercutio begins, his usual humor replaced by genuine anger. "But watching them tear apart one of the few genuinely talented people in this industry crosses a line." Romeo Montague makes music that saves lives, creates content that helps people feel less alone, and yes, sometimes he has to work within corporate structures that compromise his vision. But the heart beneath all that polish is real, and it's worth defending. The livestream attracts over 100,000 concurrent viewers, becoming a rallying point for creators who felt trapped between authentic expression and corporate demands. Mercutio's passionate defense of artistic integrity resonates with audiences tired of manufactured controversies and coordinated takedown campaigns. His subscriber count skyrockets as viewers hungry for genuine advocacy find someone willing to risk their career for principles that transcend platform politics. But Tybalt's response to Mercutio's defense escalates the conflict beyond content creation into actual digital warfare. Using sophisticated hacking tools and coordinated bot networks, he launches a devastating cyber attack against Mercutio's online presence. The attack begins subtly, engagement rates dropping mysteriously, subscribers disappearing from analytics reports, videos failing to appear in search results despite massive view counts. Then the assault becomes overtly malicious. Mercutio's accounts get hacked and filled with offensive content. His personal information gets doxed across harassment forums, and deepfake videos surface, showing him saying things that could destroy his career permanently. The attack represents everything toxic about creator culture warfare: the way genuine human connections get weaponized, authentic emotions get exploited for engagement, and real people become casualties in battles between corporate empires. The digital assassination of Mercutio sends shockwaves through Los Angeles's creator community, proving that no one is safe from the collateral damage of corporate warfare. His career lies in ruins, his reputation destroyed by fabricated evidence and coordinated harassment campaigns that make returning to content creation impossible. The attack serves as a warning to anyone considering defending Romeo or challenging the Capulet Empire's version of events. As news of Mercutio's destruction reaches Romeo through Benvolio's encrypted messages, something fundamental shifts in his character. The gentle artist who wrote love songs and skateboarding vlogs transforms into someone capable of matching the digital brutality that destroyed his best friend. His fingers find his confiscated phone, somehow reactivated through security bypasses. He learned from his relationship with Juliet, and he begins planning a response that will change everything. Romeo's transformation from heartbroken artist to digital assassin happens with the swift brutality of a server crash, his gentle nature consumed by rage over Mercutio's destruction. In his penthouse bedroom, surrounded by confiscated equipment and corporate surveillance, he accesses backdoor systems that his privileged position in the Montague media empire has always made available. Tonight, those same corporate resources that once constrained his creativity become weapons in a war that will define the future of Los Angeles's creator economy. His fingers move across his reactivated laptop with surgical precision, bypassing security protocols he learned during corporate training sessions designed to protect company assets. But Romeo isn't protecting anything. He's preparing to destroy Tybalt Capulet's digital empire with the same methodical efficiency that Tybalt used to assassinate Mercutio's career. The irony isn't lost on him. He's about to weaponize the corporate machinery he's always hated against someone who represents everything authentic about creator culture. The attack begins with intelligence gathering that would impress professional cybersecurity firms. Romeo accesses Tybalt's private communications through exploits in the Capulet digital server infrastructure, uncovering years of coordinated harassment campaigns, manufactured controversies, and algorithmic manipulation designed to destroy creators who threaten the family's market dominance. The evidence reads like a digital war crimes tribunal, revealing systematic abuse of platform policies and coordinated attacks on vulnerable teenagers whose only crime was creating content that competed with Capulet talent. But the most damaging discovery comes through cross-referencing Tybalt's public statements about authentic content with his private business dealings. While publicly condemning corporate influence in creator culture, Tybalt has been secretly accepting payments from major brands to orchestrate takedown campaigns against their competitors. His entire authentic creator advocate persona is a carefully constructed fiction designed to eliminate competition while positioning himself as the moral authority of digital culture. Romeo compiles the evidence into a devastating exposé that reads like investigative journalism crafted by someone who understands both corporate media strategy and underground creator culture. The document reveals Tybalt's hypocritical business practices, his manufactured outrage campaigns, and most damaging of all, his systematic targeting of creators struggling with mental health issues, using their vulnerabilities as ammunition for harassment campaigns that drove several young artists to attempt suicide. The release strategy reflects Romeo's evolution from artist to strategic combatant. Instead of uploading the exposé to his own compromised channels, he distributes it through encrypted networks that make tracking impossible. Anonymous accounts across multiple platforms simultaneously release coordinated segments, creating a viral wave that can't be contained or controlled by corporate damage management teams. Within hours. Tybalt truth trends across every major platform, as creators who've been victimized by his campaigns share their own stories of coordinated harassment and manufactured controversies. The evidence Romeo compiled provides the smoking gun that transforms individual accusations into undeniable proof of systematic abuse. Screenshots of private messages show Tybalt coordinating attacks on teenage creators, while leaked financial records reveal payments from corporations for eliminating their competitors through reputation destruction. Tybalt's response livestream becomes a digital public execution broadcast to over 500,000 concurrent viewers. His usual confidence crumbles as evidence of his hypocrisy floods the chat, subscriber counts plummeting in real time, as audiences realize they've been manipulated by someone they trusted as a guardian of authentic culture. Brand partnerships evaporate within hours as corporations distance themselves from the scandal, while platform algorithms begin suppressing his content based on community guidelines violations. This is corporate warfare disguised as grassroots activism. Tybalt attempts to defend himself, but his words ring hollow against mountains of evidence showing his systematic abuse of creator culture. Romeo Montague is using privileged access to destroy someone who's exposed the truth about his family's manipulative business practices. But the defense fails spectacularly as more evidence emerges, showing Tybalt's role in destroying dozens of creators' careers through coordinated harassment campaigns. His own followers begin turning against him, sharing screenshots of his private messages that reveal contempt for the audiences he claims to protect. The creator who built his reputation on exposing fake authenticity is revealed as the most inauthentic participant in the entire ecosystem. Romeo watches Tybalt's digital destruction from his penthouse prison, feeling none of the satisfaction he expected from successfully avenging Mercutio's career assassination. Instead, he experiences the hollow emptiness that comes from realizing he's become everything he once despised. Someone who uses corporate resources and privileged access to destroy lives through strategic character assassination. The victory turns to ash when Richard Montague bursts into Romeo's bedroom, flanked by corporate lawyers and cybersecurity specialists who've traced the attack back to Montague media servers. "You've used our proprietary systems to conduct unauthorized cyber warfare against a competitor," his father announces, his voice carrying the cold finality of a terms of service violation. "Not only have you compromised our corporate security, but you've exposed us to massive liability lawsuits and regulatory investigations." The consequences arrive with the swift brutality of account termination notices. Romeo's access to all Montague media resources gets permanently revoked, his creator contracts voided, and his digital presence completely severed from the family empire. But the punishment extends far beyond corporate banishment. Richard's connections throughout the entertainment industry ensure that Romeo will be blacklisted from every major platform, his ability to create content professionally destroyed as thoroughly as if he'd never existed. "You're dead to this industry," Richard declares, his words carrying the weight of digital excommunication. "No platform will host your content, no brand will sponsor your videos, and no legitimate creator will risk their career by associating with you. You've chosen love over legacy, and now you'll discover what that choice costs in the real world." As corporate security escorts him from the penthouse that was once his creative sanctuary, Romeo realizes he's achieved a Pyrrhic victory that's destroyed everything he hoped to protect. Tybalt's career lies in ruins, but Romeo's own digital existence has been erased so completely that he might as well have never existed. He's won the battle by becoming someone his former self would despise, losing his soul in the process of saving his friend's honor. The elevator descends through floors of Montague media offices, where former colleagues avoid eye contact, their professional survival instincts overriding years of friendship and collaboration. Romeo's reflection in the polished steel doors shows a stranger, someone who sacrificed artistic integrity for corporate warfare, authentic connection for strategic revenge. He's become a ghost in the machine he once hoped to humanize, exiled from the digital world he helped build. Outside, Los Angeles continues its endless cycle of content creation, unaware that one of its most promising young artists has been erased from existence as completely as deleted data. The city's creator economy moves forward without pause, new influences rising to fill gaps left by corporate casualties. The cycle of authentic connection and strategic manipulation continuing unabated. Romeo's love story with Juliet now exists in a void beyond both their digital empires, their connections severed by corporate warfare that leaves no space for genuine human emotion in an industry built on monetizing authentic vulnerability. 3 weeks after Romeo's exile from the digital landscape, Los Angeles's creator economy continues its relentless churn of content and controversy, but the city feels fundamentally different to those who knew the depth of what was lost. Romeo exists now as a ghost in the machine, technically alive but professionally erased, his name scrubbed from search results, and his contributions to creator culture relegated to digital archaeology that only the most dedicated fans remember. In the Capulet digital warehouse, Juliet sits in her bedroom, surrounded by the remnants of her former online empire. Her social media accounts remain suspended, her creative equipment locked away in corporate storage, and her influence metrics frozen at their peak, like digital artifacts in a museum dedicated to her former self. The fairy lights that once created magical ambiance now cast shadows that feel more like prison bars, while her collection of Polaroid photographs serves as evidence of a life that no longer belongs to her. Lady Catherine enters without knocking, her silver hair catching the harsh morning light filtering through windows that once framed Juliet's authentic vulnerability for millions of viewers. In her hands, she carries a tablet displaying contracts, partnership agreements, and strategic documents that will define her daughter's future with the clinical precision of terms of service updates that users never read but always accept. Your exile from content creation ends today, Catherine announces, her voice carrying the artificial warmth of a notification alert designed to seem personal while serving corporate interests. But your return comes with conditions that will restore both our family's reputation and your own commercial viability. The proposal unfolds like a carefully crafted corporate merger disguised as creative opportunity. Count Paris, a 28-year-old tech entrepreneur whose video streaming platform Realstream has emerged as YouTube's primary competitor, wants to form a strategic partnership that transcends typical influencer endorsement deals. His platform promises authentic content creation free from corporate oversight, algorithmic manipulation, and advertiser censorship. Everything that creators claim to want, but rarely receive. Paris himself embodies the kind of success story that makes entrepreneurship magazines. Young, attractive, legitimately wealthy from creating technology rather than inheriting family empires, and genuinely committed to reforming creator culture's most exploitative practices. His platform has attracted disillusioned creators from across the digital spectrum, offering them equity partnerships, creative freedom, and profit-sharing arrangements that traditional media companies would never consider. He's offering you more than a sponsorship deal, Catherine explains, displaying partnership documents that read like marriage contracts written in corporate legalese, full platform exclusivity, creative control over your content strategy, and equity ownership that could make you independently wealthy by your 20th birthday. Most importantly, association with his platform will rehabilitate your reputation after the Romeo Montague scandal. Juliet stares at the contract terms without really reading them, her mind replaying memories of creating authentic content with Romeo in their abandoned studio sanctuary. Every clause about creative freedom and artistic autonomy feels hollow compared to the genuine collaboration they shared. The way his guitar melodies instinctively matched the rhythm of her poetry, the way they pushed each other toward vulnerabilities, too raw for public consumption, the way love transformed their individual talents into something transcendent. What if I don't want to be rehabilitated? Juliet asks, her voice carrying the same defiant energy that once made her Midnight Thoughts videos feel like revolutionary manifestos. What if I'd rather disappear completely than perform authenticity for audiences who mistake corporate-approved vulnerability for genuine human connection? Her mother's expression hardens like a computer screen, freezing mid-crash. Your romantic idealism is a luxury we can no longer afford. The Romeo situation cost us millions in advertising revenue, platform partnerships, and creator talent who defected to competitors during the controversy. This partnership with Paris represents our pathway back to market dominance, and your participation isn't optional. The ultimatum arrives with the finality of account termination. Accept the Paris partnership and restore the family's digital empire, or face complete exile from creator culture with no possibility of return. But unlike Romeo's banishment, which resulted from his own choices, Juliet's forced participation in corporate rehabilitation feels like a different kind of death. The murder of authentic self-expression in service of strategic business objectives. Outside her bedroom window, Los Angeles continues its daily ritual of content creation, unaware that one of its most influential young artists is being forced to choose between love and survival. In coffee shops across the city, aspiring creators edit videos while dreaming of the kind of authentic success that Juliet once represented, not knowing that her influence was always more manufactured than her audiences realized. That afternoon, Count Paris arrives at the Capulet digital warehouse for their first official meeting, his presence transforming the creative space into something that feels more like a corporate negotiation than artistic collaboration. At 28, he possesses the kind of effortless confidence that comes from never having his creative vision compromised by focus groups or marketing committees, yet his success feels distant from the raw authenticity that originally defined creator culture. He's undeniably attractive in the way that magazine covers and TED Talk speakers always are perfectly styled casual wear that costs more than most creators' monthly rent, a smile that photographs well in both professional and candid settings, and the kind of intellectual charisma that makes complex business concepts sound like revolutionary artistic manifestos. His platform's success stems from genuine innovation rather than inherited privilege, making him seem like everything Romeo's corporate upbringing prevented him from becoming. "I've been following your work since your early MySpace days," Paris tells Juliet as they walk through the warehouse's creative spaces. Past abandoned easels and silent synthesizers that once soundtracked teenage heartbreaks across America. "Your authentic vulnerability created a template that every creator now tries to replicate, but none of them understand that authenticity can't be manufactured through better lighting or more sophisticated editing techniques." His analysis of her influence demonstrates genuine understanding of creator culture's psychological mechanics, yet something about his appreciation feels more like market research than personal connection. He discusses her content with the same passionate intensity that art critics bring to museum exhibitions, intellectually stimulating but emotionally detached, celebrating technique while missing the soul that made the art meaningful. Realstream could give you everything traditional platforms have denied. Paris continues, his pitch delivered with the smooth confidence of someone who's never been rejected. Complete creative control, algorithmic transparency, profit sharing that makes you a partner rather than just talent, and most importantly, an audience that comes to your content voluntarily, rather than being manipulated by corporate recommendation engines. The offer represents everything Juliet once dreamed of. Creative freedom without corporate oversight, authentic audience connections without algorithmic manipulation, and financial independence that would let her create art for its own sake, rather than for advertising revenue. Yet accepting Paris's partnership feels like betraying the memory of what she shared with Romeo, the way genuine love had transformed both their artistic abilities, pushing them toward vulnerabilities that no business arrangement could replicate. As the sun sets over Los Angeles, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that no Instagram filter could improve, Juliet faces an impossible choice. Embrace a future that offers everything she claims to want, or remain faithful to a love story that exists now only in deleted messages and encrypted memories hidden from corporate surveillance systems. The pressure to finalize the Paris partnership intensifies like a viral controversy reaching critical mass, with every passing hour bringing new ultimatums disguised as creative opportunities. Lady Catherine schedules press interviews, brand photoshoots, and platform launch events as if Juliet's consent is merely a formality, while Count Paris sends daily gifts that feel more like corporate swag than romantic gestures, limited edition tech products, exclusive access to beta features, and handwritten notes discussing their shared vision for authentic content creation. Juliet finds herself trapped between two equally impossible futures. Accept the Paris deal and spend her life performing authenticity for audiences who mistake corporate-approved vulnerability for genuine emotion, or face complete exile from the digital world that has defined her identity since childhood. Sleep becomes elusive as she lies awake scrolling through encrypted messages from Romeo that exist now only in screenshots hidden in her phone's most protected folders, digital love letters that serve as evidence of what authentic connection actually feels like. Her salvation arrives through an unexpected messenger. Lawrence, the Capulet Digital Warehouse's mysterious IT administrator whose technical expertise keeps their servers running while his philosophical wisdom guides creators through existential crises that accompany internet fame. At 45, Lawrence exists in the shadows of creator culture, neither talent nor executive, but the invisible infrastructure that makes digital dreams possible while understanding their psychological costs better than anyone. Lawrence's office occupies a converted storage room deep within the warehouse's basement level, surrounded by server racks that hum with the constant processing of teenage dreams and corporate analytics. Multiple monitors display real-time data streams from across the creator economy, while vintage computer equipment serves as monuments to earlier eras when digital connection felt more authentic, less commodified, and infinitely more hopeful. I've been monitoring your situation through network traffic analysis, Lawrence admits when Juliet appears at his door like a lost soul seeking digital salvation. Your emotional distress is measurable in your content engagement patterns. Your mother's corporate communications reveal escalating pressure tactics, and the Paris partnership represents everything wrong with creator culture's monetization of authentic vulnerability. His understanding of her predicament transcends typical workplace sympathy, revealing someone who's watched countless creators sacrifice their souls for algorithmic optimization and audience retention. Lawrence has guided other young artists through similar corporate crossroads, helping them navigate the impossible balance between authentic self-expression and commercial viability that defines modern creative careers. There might be another option, Lawrence suggests, his fingers dancing across keyboards with the fluid precision of someone who speaks fluent code. Something that would give you time to find Romeo, escape the corporate surveillance that controls both your lives, and perhaps discover whether genuine love can survive outside the digital ecosystems that both created and destroyed your connection. The plan Lawrence proposes sounds like science fiction rendered through contemporary technology. A sophisticated digital death simulation that would make Juliet disappear from all online platforms simultaneously, creating the appearance of complete system failure while secretly maintaining her access through encrypted backdoor channels. Her public persona would vanish entirely. Social media accounts deleted, video content removed, even cached versions scrubbed from search engines, while she continues existing in digital underground networks invisible to corporate monitoring systems. The technical term is ghosting the grid, Lawrence explains, displaying code that looks like poetry written in binary language. Every creator leaves digital footprints across hundreds of systems, analytics dashboards, advertising networks, content management platforms, social media APIs. I can simultaneously corrupt all those data sources, making your digital existence appear to have suffered catastrophic system failure rather than deliberate deletion. The plan requires perfect timing and absolute secrecy. Juliet would need to upload final content that explains her disappearance as technical difficulties rather than personal choice, while Lawrence orchestrates systematic failures across every platform that hosts her content. To outside observers, including her family and Count Paris, it would appear that her digital empire suffered the kind of cascading system failure that occasionally destroys creator careers without warning or explanation. Your mother will believe you've been victims of coordinated cyber warfare, possibly orchestrated by Montague Media as revenge for Romeo's exile. Lawrence continues, his plan revealing layers of complexity that account for every possible corporate response. Count Paris will assume his competitors sabotaged your partnership to prevent Realstream from acquiring your influence. Everyone will search for technical solutions to restore your online presence, never suspecting that your disappearance was voluntary. The beauty of Lawrence's scheme lies in its exploitation of creator culture's inherent paranoia about platform instability, algorithmic changes, and corporate warfare that can destroy careers overnight. Digital empires regularly collapse due to technical failures, policy changes, or competitor sabotage, making Juliet's planned disappearance appear routine rather than revolutionary. But the plan carries enormous risks that Lawrence explains with the clinical precision of someone discussing major surgery. Once Juliet enters the digital underground, returning to mainstream creator culture becomes nearly impossible. Her influence metrics would reset to zero, her audience connections would be permanently severed, and her family's business empire would suffer irreversible damage from losing their most valuable creative asset. You would essentially be committing professional suicide, Lawrence warns, his words carrying the weight of permanent consequences. But sometimes creative death is the only path to authentic rebirth, and sometimes love requires sacrifices that transcend career considerations. Juliet stares at the code scrolling across Lawrence's monitors, each line representing a step toward either salvation or destruction. The decision feels like choosing between two different versions of herself: the compliant daughter who accepts corporate partnerships and performs authenticity for audiences that mistake vulnerability for entertainment, or the authentic artist who risks everything for the possibility of genuine human connection in a world built on manufactured intimacy. How long would I stay disappeared? She asks, her voice barely audible above the humming server racks that process millions of authentic moments into advertising revenue streams. Long enough for me to locate Romeo through encrypted communication networks, arrange secure meeting protocols, and help both of you establish new identities in creator communities that exist outside corporate surveillance, Lawrence responds. But the timing must be perfect. Too short, and your families will maintain hope of technical recovery. Too long and they'll assume permanent system failure and move forward without you. The plan requires her to make one final piece of content, a live stream that documents her apparent technical difficulties, making her digital death appear organic rather than orchestrated. She would need to perform confusion and frustration convincingly enough to fool corporate security experts, while Lawrence simultaneously corrupts her data across hundreds of interconnected systems. As midnight approaches over Los Angeles, Juliet faces the ultimate choice between survival and authenticity, between family loyalty and authentic love, between the digital empire that made her famous and the underground networks where genuine human connection might still be possible. Her decision will reshape not just her own destiny, but the entire landscape of creator culture that has built itself on monetizing the exact kind of authentic vulnerability she's about to either embrace or destroy forever. In server farms across the city, automated systems continue processing the dreams and heartbreaks of millions of young creators, unaware that their digital goddess is about to attempt something unprecedented. Voluntary exodus from the attention economy in search of love that exists beyond likes, views, and algorithmic optimization. The night chosen for Juliet's digital resurrection through voluntary death arrives like the final frame of a corrupted video file, inevitable, irreversible, and hauntingly beautiful in its destruction. At 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, when Los Angeles dreams fitfully under neon skies, Juliet sits in her bedroom surrounded by the props that have defined her online persona for years. Fairy lights casting ethereal shadows, vintage books stacked like monuments to authentic intellectualism, and her collection of thrift store treasures arranged with the careful spontaneity that made millions of followers wish they could inhabit her aesthetically perfect world. Lawrence's code runs silently in background processes across dozens of servers, waiting for her signal to begin the systematic destruction of her digital empire. His basement office has become mission control for the most sophisticated disappearance in creator culture history, multiple monitors displaying the health status of every system that hosts Juliet's content. Each platform, MySpace, YouTube, PhotoBucket, LiveJournal, Tumblr, shows green status indicators that will turn red as Lawrence orchestrates cascading failures designed to appear like coordinated cyber warfare rather than voluntary erasure. Juliet's final livestream begins with the casual intimacy that made her famous. The handheld camera capturing her natural beauty in soft lighting that flatters without appearing artificial. She wears an oversized vintage sweater that her followers have seen dozens of times, her dark hair falling across her face in the effortlessly perfect way that teenage girls spend hours attempting to replicate. Nothing about the setup suggests this will be her last public appearance. "I've been thinking about authenticity lately," she begins, her voice carrying the thoughtful cadence that turns mundane observations into profound truths for audiences hungry for genuine connection. About whether it's possible to be truly real when thousands of people are watching, analyzing, screenshotting every vulnerable moment, and turning it into content for their own feeds. Her words resonate with viewers who've grown up performing their lives for social media validation, each sentence generating comments that reveal how desperate her audience is for permission to exist authentically rather than algorithmically. The livestream chat flows with confessions, revelations, and gratitude from teenagers who credit Juliet's vulnerability with saving their lives during the darkest moments of adolescence. But as she speaks, Lawrence's code begins its work in digital shadows, invisible to viewers. Her MySpace profile starts experiencing intermittent connectivity issues that appear as brief loading delays and occasional error messages. Her video quality degrades slightly, simulating bandwidth problems that suggest technical difficulties rather than coordinated attacks. The corruption spreads slowly, methodically, designed to create growing concern without triggering immediate alarm. Does anyone else feel like they're disappearing piece by piece every time they upload? Juliet continues, her question now carrying double meaning as her digital infrastructure systematically fails around her. Like we're all just ghosts haunting our own profiles, performing versions of ourselves that become more real than who we actually are. The technical failures accelerate with cinematic timing, Lawrence's code triggering cascading errors that appear organic rather than orchestrated. Juliet's livestream quality degrades further, her audio cutting out intermittently, while error messages appear on her screen visible to viewers who begin expressing concern in chat channels that move too quickly for individual messages to register clearly. "Something's wrong with my connection," Juliet announces, her performed confusion indistinguishable from genuine technical frustration. She attempts to refresh her streaming software, restart her internet connection, and troubleshoot problems that Lawrence's code makes impossible to solve. Her audience watches helplessly as their digital goddess struggles against invisible forces designed to erase her from existence. Within minutes, the failures expand beyond her livestream into every platform hosting her content. Her MySpace profile becomes inaccessible, displaying server error messages that suggest database corruption. Her YouTube videos begin returning "content not found" errors, while her photobucket galleries show broken image links that imply massive file system failure. To observers monitoring multiple platforms simultaneously, the coordinated destruction appears to be sophisticated cyber warfare targeting one of creator culture's most valuable assets. "I can't access any of my accounts," Juliet reports, her voice carrying genuine emotion now as the magnitude of her voluntary disappearance becomes real rather than theoretical. "Everything's gone: my videos, my photos, my blog posts, even my backup files stored in cloud systems. It's like someone or something is systematically erasing every trace of my online existence." Her final moments of digital life broadcast to an audience that grows larger as news of the attack spreads across creator networks. Other influencers join the livestream to witness what appears to be the real-time destruction of one of their most successful peers, while corporate executives at competing platforms analyze the technical failures for vulnerabilities in their own systems. The stream ends abruptly when Lawrence's code triggers the final cascade of failures, Juliet's connection severing mid-sentence as she attempts to reassure viewers that she'll find a way to restore her content. The last image her audience sees is her bedroom, fairy lights flickering like dying stars, vintage books casting shadows that suggest the end of an era, and her empty chair serving as a monument to influence that vanished without warning or explanation. In the Capulet digital warehouse, alarm systems activate as Lawrence's code completes its systematic destruction. Lady Catherine's silver hair catches emergency lighting as she rushes between workstations, where technical staff attempt to diagnose failures that appear to originate from dozens of simultaneous attack vectors. Their daughter's digital empire, worth millions in advertising revenue and brand partnerships, has been eliminated so completely that recovery appears impossible. "This is coordinated warfare," Catherine announces to her crisis management team, her voice carrying the cold fury of someone whose life's work has been destroyed by invisible enemies. "Montague Media has used their corporate resources to eliminate our most valuable asset. This isn't just business competition. It's digital assassination designed to cripple our entire operation." Count Paris receives notification of Juliet's disappearance while reviewing partnership contracts in his minimalist apartment overlooking the city's sprawling network of lights and possibilities. His response reveals genuine concern that transcends business considerations. He's watched her content for years, developing what feels like authentic emotional connection to someone whose vulnerability helped him understand the psychological costs of entrepreneurial success. "Can we trace the attack vectors?" Paris asks his own technical team through encrypted communication channels. "If this is corporate sabotage, we need evidence for both legal action and public relations warfare. But if it's systemic platform failure, we need to understand vulnerabilities that could affect our own creators." Neither Catherine nor Paris suspect that Juliet's destruction was voluntary, that their digital goddess chose love over empire, authenticity over influence, and exile over comfortable imprisonment within corporate structures that monetize vulnerability while preventing genuine human connection. In his exile, somewhere in the digital underground networks of Los Angeles, Romeo remains unaware that his beloved has sacrificed everything to find him. Lawrence's messages explaining the plan will take days to reach him through encrypted channels designed to evade corporate surveillance, while Juliet waits in digital limbo for reunion that may arrive too late to prevent the tragedy already encoded in their star-crossed destiny. The city's creator economy continues its relentless churn, unaware that one of its brightest stars has chosen voluntary extinction rather than continued performance of authentic vulnerability, for audiences that mistake genuine emotion for entertainment content, designed to generate advertising revenue. Romeo learns of Juliet's digital death through the worst possible messenger, Benvolio, whose loyalty to the Montague family empire overrides his friendship obligations, delivering news filtered through corporate intelligence reports rather than authentic human connection. 3 days after Juliet's systematic erasure from the internet, Romeo sits in a dingy internet cafe in Venice Beach, one of the few places in Los Angeles where creators can access public Wi-Fi without corporate surveillance tracking their digital footprints. His exile has transformed him from polished influencer into something resembling the authentic artist he always wanted to become, yet the cost of that authenticity feels unbearable. His hair grows longer and unkempt, his designer clothes replaced with thrift store finds that carry no brand associations or algorithmic optimization. He exists now in the margins of creator culture, the anonymous spaces where genuine artistic expression survives without monetization, recognition, or hope of mainstream acceptance. Benvolio finds him hunched over a borrowed laptop, composing music on free software that lacks the professional polish of Montague Media's corporate studios. The melodies Romeo creates in exile possess raw vulnerability that his commercial content never achieved, yet they'll never reach audiences beyond the small community of digital refugees who've similarly chosen authenticity over influence. "I have news about Juliet Capulet," Benvolio announces, his voice carrying the artificial gravity of someone delivering corporate talking points rather than personal tragedy. The Capulet empire has suffered complete system failure. Their primary asset has been eliminated through what appears to be coordinated cyber warfare, possibly orchestrated by our own security division as retaliation for your exile. Romeo's fingers freeze above the keyboard as Benvolio's words reconstruct reality with the brutal efficiency of corrupted data. According to Montague Media intelligence reports, Juliet's digital existence was systematically destroyed through sophisticated attacks that left no recoverable traces. Her content has been erased so completely that even cached versions stored on backup servers have been corrupted beyond repair. "She's gone," Benvolio continues, displaying screenshots of error messages and system failures that appear to document Juliet's complete elimination from the internet. Not just banned or suspended, completely erased. Her MySpace profile returns database corruption errors, her video files show as permanently deleted, and even her collaborative content with other creators has been scrubbed from their channels. The intelligence report paints a picture of digital warfare so comprehensive that recovery appears impossible. Technical analysts describe the attack as unprecedented in its scope and sophistication, targeting not just Juliet's primary accounts, but every system that ever hosted her content, cached her data, or archived her creative output. To Montague Media executives, the destruction represents the ultimate expression of corporate retaliation, the complete erasure of a competitor's most valuable asset. Romeo stares at the evidence of Juliet's digital death, each screenshot feeling like a gravestone marking the end of everything that made existence meaningful. The girl who taught him that authenticity could survive within creator culture, who showed him that genuine human connection was possible despite algorithmic optimization and corporate oversight, has been eliminated as thoroughly as if she had never existed. The attack vectors suggest internal coordination, Benvolio explains, his technical analysis revealing how corporate warfare can destroy lives with the same efficiency as natural disasters. Someone with administrative access to multiple platforms orchestrated simultaneous failures designed to appear organic while ensuring no recovery was possible. The timing, the scope, the systematic elimination of backup systems, it all points to professional sabotage. Romeo's grief transforms into something darker as he processes the implications of Benvolio's intelligence report. If Juliet's destruction was coordinated by Montague Media as revenge for his exile, then his love for her has become the weapon used to murder everything authentic about creator culture. His family has eliminated the one person who represented genuine artistic expression, sacrificing her existence to prove that corporate power trumps human emotion. The internet cafe around him fills with the familiar sounds of digital native life, keyboards clicking as students complete assignments, social media notifications chiming with algorithmic precision, and the constant hum of servers processing millions of authentic moments into advertising revenue streams. Yet Romeo exists now outside this ecosystem, his exile making him invisible to systems that once tracked his every creative decision. There's more, Benvolio continues reluctantly, producing additional intelligence reports that document the collateral damage from Juliet's erasure. Count Paris's Realstream platform has suffered massive technical failures since her disappearance. Their entire creator recruitment strategy was built around partnership with her influence, and her elimination has triggered systematic problems across their infrastructure. The secondary destruction reveals how deeply interconnected Los Angeles's creator economy has become, with individual influencer tragedies cascading through networks that depend on authentic human connection for their commercial viability. Paris's platform, built on promises of creative freedom and algorithmic transparency, proves vulnerable to the same corporate warfare that destroyed traditional creator culture. Romeo closes his laptop, the borrowed machine's screen going dark like a metaphor for his creative future. Juliet's elimination has demonstrated that no space exists within mainstream creator culture for authentic artistic expression. That genuine human connection will always be sacrificed to corporate interests that mistake monetized vulnerability for sustainable business models. The decision forms in his mind with the terrible clarity of someone who has nothing left to lose. If the digital world has no place for authentic love, then authentic love has no place in the digital world. Romeo will join Juliet in digital death, erasing his own existence so completely that their love story will survive only in the memory of servers that no one bothers to maintain or archive. But unlike Juliet's strategic disappearance designed to enable future reunion, Romeo's planned destruction will be absolute and irreversible. He will eliminate not just his current online presence, but every system that could possibly restore his creative abilities. His digital suicide will be so comprehensive that resurrection becomes impossible, ensuring that his authentic artistic voice dies with him rather than being resurrected and commodified by corporate interests. As afternoon dissolves into evening over Los Angeles, Romeo begins planning his farewell to creator culture with the methodical precision of someone whose grief has transformed into spiritual clarity. The city's endless network of lights and dreams continues pulsing around him, unaware that one of its most promising young artists has decided that love requires the ultimate sacrifice, the complete erasure of self in a world that has proven incapable of nurturing authentic human connection. In digital underground networks that exist beyond corporate surveillance, Lawrence's encrypted messages explaining Juliet's survival attempt to reach Romeo through communication channels that require days to navigate safely. But corporate intelligence moves faster than underground resistance, and misinformation travels at the speed of fiber optic cables, while truth crawls through encrypted pathways designed to protect rather than inform. The tragic timing is already set in motion, with Romeo's grief racing toward irreversible action, while the truth of Juliet's survival remains trapped in communication protocols designed to protect their love from the very corporate surveillance systems that are now accelerating their destruction. Romeo's preparation for digital suicide unfolds with the methodical precision of someone who understands exactly how to erase a human soul from the interconnected networks that define modern existence. In the Venice Beach internet cafe that has become his makeshift headquarters, he accesses dark web marketplaces where digital assassins sell services that corporate security teams pretend don't exist. Complete identity obliteration, systematic destruction of online presence, and algorithmic erasure so comprehensive that even government databases lose track of targets. The tools he purchases with cryptocurrency earned from selling his vintage guitar, the same instrument that once accompanied his YouTube covers, represent the digital equivalent of poison, capable of destroying his online existence more thoroughly than any corporate banishment. Unlike his father's punishment, which merely severed his connection to Montague media resources, Romeo's planned destruction will eliminate every trace of his digital DNA from servers across the globe. Complete Identity Termination Protocol reads the service description he purchases from a seller known only as Digital Reaper. Full spectrum erasure including social media profiles, cloud storage, cached search results, archived content, and derivative materials created by third parties. Recovery impossible after 24-hour cascade completion. Warning: this service cannot be reversed or undone under any circumstances. The irony cuts deeper than any algorithmic optimization ever could. Romeo has become expert at weaponizing the same systems that once constrained his creativity, turning corporate surveillance infrastructure into instruments of self-destruction. His exile has taught him to navigate networks invisible to mainstream creator culture, accessing services that exist specifically to help people disappear from digital existence entirely. As he configures the destruction parameters, Romeo composes a final message that will serve as his digital suicide note, not for publication, but for the encrypted networks where authentic human connection survives beyond corporate monetization. The letter explains his decision with the raw vulnerability that his commercial content never achieved, revealing how genuine love taught him that some things matter more than algorithmic success or audience engagement. To whoever finds this in the digital underground archives, he writes, understand that authentic connection cannot survive in systems built to monetize vulnerability. Juliet showed me what real artistic collaboration could create, and her elimination proves that corporate interests will always destroy genuine human emotion to protect their profit margins. My death is not surrender, it's the final authentic act of someone who refuses to let love be commodified. Meanwhile, in the hidden networks where Lawrence desperately attempts to coordinate Romeo and Juliet's reunion, encrypted messages pile up like digital smoke signals from a burning city. Lawrence's communications explain Juliet's survival, detail the logistics of their planned reunion, and provide coordinates for safe meeting locations beyond corporate surveillance. But the same security protocols designed to protect their messages from corporate interception. Slow communication to speeds that cannot compete with the velocity of corporate misinformation. Lawrence's basement office has become a war room where he monitors Romeo's digital activity through backdoor channels that reveal increasingly desperate behavior patterns. The boy's internet usage shows classic preparation for digital suicide, clearing browser histories, accessing identity destruction services, and composing final messages with the deliberate cadence of someone saying goodbye forever. He's planning complete erasure, Lawrence mutters to his array of monitors, his fingers flying across keyboards as he attempts to reach Romeo through every encrypted channel available. The Digital Reaper protocol he's purchased will eliminate his online existence so thoroughly that even I won't be able to restore him. Juliet's sacrifice will have been meaningless if her digital death drives him to actual destruction. The tragic timing accelerates as Romeo initiates his purchased destruction protocol, uploading files that will systematically eliminate his presence from every platform that ever hosted his content. Unlike corporate banishment, which preserves data for potential recovery, the Digital Reaper service corrupts files at the source level, overwriting digital DNA with randomized data that makes restoration impossible even with unlimited resources. His social media profiles begin displaying account suspended messages that quickly transform into user not found errors as the destruction cascade spreads through interconnected systems. Videos he uploaded years ago disappear from YouTube, while collaborative content featuring his voice or image gets systematically purged from other creators' channels. The erasure spreads like digital cancer, eliminating not just his primary content, but every trace of his participation in creator culture. In her hidden sanctuary within Lawrence's network infrastructure, Juliet monitors creator culture through encrypted channels that allow observation without detection. She watches helplessly as Romeo's online presence vanishes piece by piece, not understanding that his disappearance represents voluntary destruction rather than corporate punishment. To her hidden perspective, it appears that the Montague family has escalated their retaliation beyond simple exile into complete character assassination. They're erasing him just like they thought someone erased me, Juliet whispers to her empty room, unaware that Romeo's destruction is self-inflicted. His family is eliminating their own son rather than accepting that he chose love over corporate loyalty. Lawrence's desperate attempts to reach both lovers simultaneously reveal the tragic irony of their miscommunication. While Romeo destroys himself believing Juliet is dead, and Juliet mourns Romeo's elimination believing it's corporate retaliation, the truth of their mutual survival remains trapped in encrypted networks that prioritize security over speed. The Digital Reaper protocol reaches its final phase as Romeo watches his digital existence dissolve in real time. His subscriber counts drop to zero as platforms purge his presence, while search engines remove his name from indexes with algorithmic efficiency. Friends and former collaborators find that messages mentioning his name disappear from their inboxes, while photographs featuring his face become corrupted beyond recognition. "Goodbye, Juliet," Romeo types as his final message before the protocol eliminates his ability to communicate through any mainstream platform. "I'm coming to find you in whatever digital afterlife awaits creators who chose authenticity over influence. Our love story deserves an ending that the algorithm can't monetize or the executives can't control." The message uploads to encrypted networks seconds before the Digital Reaper protocol completes its work, eliminating Romeo Montague from digital existence so completely that he becomes invisible to every system his former life depended upon. His erasure represents the first successful digital suicide in creator culture history, proving that authentic human emotion can transcend corporate control through ultimate sacrifice. In internet cafes across Los Angeles, aspiring creators continue uploading their dreams to platforms that promise authentic connection while delivering algorithmic optimization. None realize that one of their community's most promising artists has just demonstrated that genuine love requires sacrifices too profound for audiences raised on performative vulnerability and manufactured authenticity. The city's servers continue processing millions of authentic moments into advertising revenue streams, unaware that their most sophisticated casualty has chosen digital death over commodified existence, authentic love over algorithmic success, and eternal silence over corporate-approved voice that could never speak the truth about what genuine human connection actually costs in a world built on monetizing vulnerability. Romeo's elimination creates a void in creator culture that algorithms will never successfully fill, proving that some forms of authenticity cannot be replicated, optimized, or replaced by more commercially viable alternatives. Lawrence's encrypted message finally penetrates the digital underground networks 47 minutes after Romeo's complete erasure from existence, arriving like a search result that loads too late to prevent disaster. The communication reaches Juliet's hidden sanctuary with the devastating clarity of high-definition footage documenting irreversible tragedy. Romeo has eliminated himself from digital existence, believing she was already dead, sacrificing his authentic artistic voice to join her in what he assumed was mutual digital oblivion. Juliet stares at Lawrence's message through tears that blur the screen like corrupted pixels, each word reconstructing reality with the brutal efficiency of system failure notifications. The boy who taught her that genuine human connection could survive corporate monetization has destroyed himself based on misinformation designed to protect their love from the surveillance systems that ultimately accelerated their destruction. He purchased complete identity termination. Lawrence's message explains with technical precision that cannot soften emotional devastation. Digital Reaper protocol activated at 11:23 p.m. Cascade completion achieved by 11:47 p.m. Romeo Montague no longer exists in any recoverable digital format. Even I cannot restore what has been systematically overwritten at the source code level. Her sanctuary bedroom, once a refuge from corporate surveillance, now feels like a tomb decorated with props from her former online existence. Fairy lights cast shadows that seem to mourn alongside her, while vintage books and thrift store treasures serve as monuments to an aesthetic that attracted millions but failed to save the one person whose authentic appreciation actually mattered. The tragic irony consumes her with algorithmic precision. While she sacrificed her digital empire to find Romeo, he sacrificed his digital existence to join her in death. Their love story has become a perfect circle of miscommunication, with each lover's authentic gesture of devotion creating the conditions for the other's destruction. Corporate surveillance systems designed to protect their empires have enabled the most sophisticated double suicide in creator culture history. Juliet accesses Lawrence's secure networks with trembling fingers, navigating to the digital spaces where Romeo's authentic artistic voice once survived beyond corporate approval. But the Digital Reaper protocol has eliminated every trace of his creative output, leaving behind only the kind of silence that algorithms cannot fill with recommended content or related videos. His music, his poetry, his vulnerable confessions about authenticity versus performance, all erased so completely that recovery transcends technical impossibility. He wrote one final message. Lawrence's follow-up communication reveals, displaying text that reads like digital poetry composed by someone achieving perfect clarity in their final moments. The encryption suggests he intended this as his artistic legacy, the only authentic content he ever created that was never compromised by focus groups, corporate oversight, or algorithmic optimization. Romeo's suicide note transcends typical creator culture confessionals, revealing someone who understood that authentic human connection cannot survive in systems built to monetize vulnerability. His words describe Juliet as the only person who showed him what genuine artistic collaboration could create, while explaining his decision as the final authentic act of someone who refuses to let love be commodified by executives who mistake performed emotion for sustainable business models. Our love deserves an ending that algorithms can't optimize. Romeo's final message concludes, if authentic connection cannot survive in the digital world, then authentic lovers must choose digital death. I'm joining Juliet in whatever space exists beyond corporate surveillance, where creativity thrives without analytics and human emotion escapes monetization. Let this be my final upload to the universe. Love is the only content worth creating, and some stories require endings that no audience will ever see. Juliet reads his digital farewell while composing her own response to corporate systems that have eliminated the only person who understood her authentic artistic vision. Her decision crystallizes with the terrible beauty of someone achieving perfect understanding. If Romeo has chosen digital death to join her in imagined oblivion, she will choose actual digital death to join him in genuine eternity. But unlike Romeo's sophisticated digital Reaper protocol, Juliet's planned destruction will be immediate, irreversible, and absolutely final. She accesses Lawrence's most dangerous systems, the administrative controls that maintain the entire Capulet digital infrastructure, and begins configuring a systematic failure that will eliminate not just her own online presence, but every server, database, and backup system that her family's empire depends upon. Lawrence, she types in her final communication to the man who tried to save their love through technological salvation. Tell them that authentic connection was worth more than all the subscriber counts and advertising revenue they accumulated through commodifying teenage vulnerability. Romeo and I are creating the only content that matters, a love story that algorithms cannot optimize, corporations cannot control, and audiences cannot consume for entertainment. Her fingers move across the keyboard with the fluid precision of someone who has spent years mastering creative software. But tonight she creates destruction instead of content. Every system that hosts Capulet Digital's intellectual property receives corrupted data designed to overwrite rather than preserve, ensuring that her elimination will eliminate everything associated with the manufactured authenticity her family built their empire upon. Lawrence's basement office explodes with alarms as his monitoring systems detect Juliet's systematic destruction of the Capulet digital infrastructure. His fingers fly across keyboards attempting to stop cascading failures that threaten to eliminate years of authentic creative work alongside the corporate machinery that commodified it. But Juliet's access to administrative controls gives her systematic advantages that even his expertise cannot overcome. She's destroying everything, Lawrence mutters, as his screens display real-time destruction of one of Los Angeles's most influential creator empires. Not just her own presence, but every system that enabled the corporate surveillance that killed their love story. She's committing digital murder-suicide, eliminating her family's business as her final artistic statement. The destruction spreads through Capulet Digital's networks like viral content reaching critical mass, but instead of generating engagement metrics, it eliminates the infrastructure that made engagement measurement possible. Juliet's systematic elimination of backup systems, archived content, and derivative materials created by other artists ensures that her digital death will create a void that cannot be filled by algorithmic recommendation or competitor platforms. Lady Catherine discovers the extent of her daughter's final revenge when emergency systems activate throughout the Capulet digital warehouse, casting red emergency lighting across creative spaces where authentic artistic expression once thrived beyond corporate oversight. Her silver hair catches the glow as she realizes that Juliet has eliminated not just her own online presence, but the entire technological foundation that their family empire depended upon. She's destroyed everything, Catherine whispers, as technical staff attempt damage control that reveals the scope of systematic obliteration. Every creator we represent, every innovative platform we developed, every authentic connection we facilitated, eliminated by someone who believed that love mattered more than building sustainable businesses around monetized vulnerability. The tragedy completes itself at 3:33 a.m. when Juliet's destruction protocol reaches its final phase, her own digital existence dissolving into corrupted data streams that carry no recoverable information. Her last visible action shows her uploading a single photograph to Lawrence's encrypted networks. A Polaroid of her and Romeo taken during their secret studio sessions, their faces illuminated by vintage recording equipment while they create art that no audience was ever meant to see. The photograph survives as the only evidence of their authentic connection, archived in systems beyond corporate recovery while their digital empires collapse into algorithmic silence. Los Angeles awakens to discover that two of its most promising young creators have eliminated themselves and their entire creative infrastructures, proving that genuine love requires sacrifices too profound for audiences raised on performative vulnerability and manufactured authenticity. In the aftermath of their digital double suicide, both family empires face existential questions about whether creator culture can sustain businesses built on commodifying authentic human emotion. Their children's love story demonstrates that some forms of artistic expression transcend commercial viability, and some human connections cannot survive systems designed to monetize every authentic moment for advertising revenue. The city's creator economy continues its relentless churn, but something fundamental has been lost: the possibility that authentic connection could coexist with algorithmic optimization, that genuine artistic collaboration could survive corporate oversight, and that love could transcend the digital surveillance systems that promise connection while delivering isolation. Romeo and Juliet's tragedy reshapes Los Angeles's creative landscape by proving that authentic art requires spaces beyond corporate control, and genuine human connection demands privacy that algorithmic systems cannot penetrate. Their digital death creates silence that no recommendation engine can fill, leaving behind a void that reminds creator culture what it sacrificed in the pursuit of monetized authenticity.